on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Welcome, 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 welcome. This is Universal Pathway, a show brought to viewers worldwide, airing from New York, the United States of America, by way of Millennium News 24. I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Ill, and today I'm truly honored to be in the studio with the National Chairman of the United More Science Civil of America, my good brother, Brother Shaahid Ali Ill. How you doing, my beloved brother?
All is well, peace and love. How you doing this morning? Well, it's this morning for me.
Okay, I think we might be having some audio on his side. I can pretty much...
Okay. Can you hear me?
He can hear me clearly, but I'm not sure if we can hear him.
Okay.
So
can you hear me?
Hopefully, if I continue to speak, I think the key is if I'm not able to hear him, the response might be a little bit slow. Right. So I just want to give a quick brief moment for our viewers. We having a little bit of technical difficulty where I'm actually not able to hear our guest, National Chairman Shaahid Ali Ill, but he's able to hear me. Prior to that, in our technical background, there was some issue with the audio. So just bear with us briefly as we try to clear that up. Can you say something? Okay, I'm still not able to hear you. Okay. Still not able to hear you.
1, 2.
So there's something technically that's going on where I'm not able to hear. And if I cannot hear him, then it just becomes a difficult aspect with the questions and the answers. So it's quite possible that our viewers worldwide is hearing us and here in the United States hearing us. Just want to give the IT a brief moment to make sure that the audio is being heard on both sides. He's good where he can hear me. But I'm hoping that will connect the audio where here in the studio I can hear him as well. We just had some difficulties with the stream today. So again, thank you for our viewers for your patience and just bearing with us while we just troubleshoot briefly to get it where the audio is actually being heard on both sides.
Testing.
At one point I was hearing him crystal clear. He was not able to hear me. And then at this point, I'm not able to hear him. But
1, 2,
he's able to hear me. Can you say something?
Testing.
National Chairman?
1, 2, testing.
From what I'm observing, I do believe he's speaking. I just still cannot hear at this point.
Testing. 2, testing.
We're just having a brief technical difficulties at this moment.
Testing. 1, 2, testing.
I do see where the IT is attempting to fix the audio issues that we're having. In broadcasting at times, live broadcast, these little hiccups, they do happen.
Testing.
But we are both speaking at this time with the hope that we can solve this communication issue.
1, 2, testing.
The viewers can hear both of us, but the drawback is I'm not able to hear. So, and it's quite possible that if I were to go to
testing
my phone and listen, there'd be a slight delay as it pertains to the show itself. But we're going to try this and see what happens. If you do hear a slight feedback, I do apologize, but I'm just thinking real time, how can we resolve the audio issue? Okay, because we're already live.
Testing. It'll work out.
I'm going to go to our stream on YouTube and see if I can get connected with the broadcast in that aspect as well. So just bear with your brother.
Testing.
I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Ill. Just give me a moment and see how we could resolve this. Each show, I must say, has been different. And right now, I do see
testing.
Where the show is live.
Testing.
Okay. Check. Mic check.
Check.
There's a slight delay.
Check.
Can you hear me, GS?
Islam, I can hear you.
Shaahid Ali?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you
Uh,
hear a feedback?
no, I don't hear a feedback. I can hear me on that side vaguely, small, but it's all right.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So again, okay. All right. Thank everyone for their patience in allowing this broadcast. Hopefully, if the audio correct in the normal aspect of things, we'll go forward with that. But I'm going to continue to speak because I do hear my good brother. It's a little bit delayed. I'm
Islam.
going to read this brief bio to really introduce our guest today, Brother Shaahid Ali Ill, also known as Anthony Brooks Ill, have accepted the lofty teachings of the holy and divine prophet Noble Drew Ali and proclaimed his nationality through the Moorish Science Temple of America Subordinate Temple 24 by way of Los Angeles, California on October 15th, 1999. Under the leadership of Brother A. Lane Ill, GS and Elder Sheiks, Brother A. Moreland Ill and Brother R. Seder Ill, in 2001, Brother Shaahid Ali Ill was recommended and initiated into the ADEP Chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America and appointed assistant treasurer of the local subordinate temple. In 2003, he was also initiated into the chamber by way of the 75th annual convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago, Illinois, under the leadership of Brother E. Braswell Bay and the Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother D. Bailey Ill, Supreme Grand Governor and Supreme Grand Sheikh, along with members of the Grand Body. By 2004, he advanced to becoming the treasurer of Temple number 24 and continued his growth by with the divine lessons of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. By Allah's grace, he continued to grow through the movement, and in 2008, November specifically, he was appointed Grand Sheikh and Divine Minister of the Moorish Science Temple of America Subordinate Temple number 24 out of Los Angeles, California. His commitment and growth is tremendous. His ambition was never to become Sheikh, interestingly enough. Yet in this divine and national movement, he embraced the roles that the elders thought he was fit to serve in. In doing so, he has dedicated his life to this movement, taking on both roles, divine minister and grand sheikh, his growth and overcoming anxieties, internal anxiety, to pretty much be one of the advocates attempting to unite our people, these temples, families of temples that Prophet Noble Drew Ali have left us. With that being said, I truly first met my good brother at a convention in 2022, specifically out of California in Allensworth. And at that convention, he was basically raised to the level of being the chairman of that convention that very year when I first met him. His national leadership now is a part of the United Moorish Science Temple of America, where he's also the national chairman, serving with the Grand Sheikh, the national Grand Sheikh, Nathaniel Booth Ill, known to many by his pen name, Cosmo Ill. And they've been doing a tremendous role in really bringing forth unity among Moors from a non-sectarian perspective. The United Moorish Science Temple of America allow ones who have not really find their footing yet to be able to come in and pretty much fit in where they fit in. Because the beautiful thing that we hope you will hear from this interview today is that we all have an understanding of Moorish science because it's in our nature. But we need sheiks and adepts. One could not allow us to see more clearly what it is. And we hope in this interview, you'll see that. Another vast aspect of this good brother work is what he does from an entrepreneurship perspective by way of a nonprofit by the name of ESROC. Interestingly enough, they have now served in California, and I'm going to allow him to speak more about that. But specifically, Leimert Park in Los Angeles, this organization has been in effect since 2016 with his co-founder, Daniel Ferguson. So with that, I don't want to be too long-winded because we already start a little bit late. And but I do honor everyone's patience in live broadcast. You never know what can happen. We've
That's
seen
fine.
people ran across, stadiums and did some crazy things, right? And that's just a part of the entertainment. But this is a divine conversation. And with that being said, I'm not gonna be laughing too much. So again, I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Eel. This is Universal Pathway, and it's truly an honor to have my good brother, the National Chairman of the United Moor Science Temple of America, Brother Shaahid Ali Hill. Islam, beloved, how you doing today?
Islam, all is well. Truly well, ANGS, and yourself. I truly thank this platform. But first, I rise, giving perfect praises to the great God of the universe, Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the worlds, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Allah of the still small voice that speaks within the heart of man, the one who is slow to anger. We praise Allah for sending his holy and divine prophet, Noble Ali, in this era of time to bring back and teach us the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, and to guide us back to the faith of Muhammad, peace be upon him, the religion of Abraham. We honor our illustrious and illustrious forefathers, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey Bey, the forerunner of the Prophet Noble Ali, as the spirit of John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those ancient days. We give honors to our forefathers. We got honors to all Moorish officials. We give honors to everybody in the Moor Science Temple of America and everybody in their community that's striving to do the right thing. Islam. Islam. So the question,
Islam.
what can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. And I just don't want to go off if you can repeat the last questions, but the thing is, I came into the Moor Science Temple of America, like he said, in 1999.
Again,
I know it's a delay, but I came into the Moor Science Temple of America, October 1999, really just trying to find the connection with my ancestors. And, a lot of times we enter organizations and, we really have to understand like who are our forefathers. It's like a lot of things that we get into, especially with the people here in North America and our people, over the world who has lost their nationality and things like that. Everybody wants to know like who are my grandparents and who they descend from. And so coming into the Moor Science Temple of America nationality, it just really sparked my interest. And at that time, the sheiks and things that was present, the things that they taught us and, about forefathers just kind of really set me on fire and let us know that like they said, like, if we don't honor our forefathers' national and divine creed, then it ceased to be, exist on the planet, in the culture. So a lot of times we can talk about how our ancestors, how we connect back to the ancient people who civilized, the earthland and did these good things. But how would you look at yourself in that mirror today? If your ancestors was to come today, would they be disappointed in you, or would they give you, high honors? And so my whole thing is the Prophet Noble Ali, he came to reunite the family first, because families make up temples, families make up communities. And so in that time, that was the thing that brought me into the Moor Science Temple of America, how to govern my family and how to give them something that, that they can weigh life against.
well said, well said. Yes, you're correct. There is a slight delay. And again, thank you for your patience as it pertains to that. You shared that you didn't initially set out to become a sheikh in the divine movement. What was the turning point that led you to accept the call to leadership in the Moor Science Temple of America?
Well, sometimes, accepting the call is not saying I accept this station. That happens, but when your leadership comes to you and if you've been attending temple meetings, and sometimes You have a lot of people, they go their own way. Something happened in life where they have to leave town and go deal with family members. And next thing you know, you'll start saying, okay, where are the pillars in the temple? Because, you know, one person can't do all roles. If we have a secretary, if we have a treasurer, we have a grand sheik, we have an assistant grand sheik, we have all these stations. But when life hits, everybody does their own thing, and, you know, they choose to do that. And so when it was brought to me that I would have to be the grand sheik, it was like in anxieties, because I looked at sheiks and the sheikdom, you know, with a certain standard, the way, you know, they govern the temple, the lessons that they knew, how every Friday night the meeting was going on, Sunday night the meeting was going on, Wednesday Quran class, and how they kept those things up. And so in the Moorish Science Temple of America, you will learn discipline. But even in our household, I grew up with chores. In our family, it was about chores. You clean the bathroom. If trash is your duty, you make sure the trash is clean. Wipe out the trash can, wipe behind the wall, spray with a trash can at, and that's your thing. Next thing you know, you start collecting all the trash around the house. Then you move to the bathroom, and moms will tell you how to clean and mop the bath. Everything was done. It was 6 of us. So our house stayed clean. My mom's always prayed. So we had to have a clean house, you know. And so in the Moorish Science Temple of America, those duties wasn't really a burden on me. My whole thing, my anxieties came from not wanting to let people down, you know, and knowing that the temple was made up of families. You know, you have to live a certain standard, not a standard as that you have to be clean. You have to decide whether the pulling, the tugging of the world, whether you know, dice shoot, or the tugging of the world, or when you come into the temple, you learn how to deal with those urges, and you say, okay, what benefits my family? You know, growing up in a family, you know, that's from down south, my uncle always said, whatever you do across town, it's going to reflect on the family, whether positive or negative. So make sure you keep the family name clean. That was some of the core principles in our lives, you know. And so just coming into the temple, we knew wherever we go and whatever we do is going to reflect on your family, or it'll reflect on your community of the people who saw you raise up, and they wanted better for you, you know. And so if you find out that you're doing something that's, you know, that's undermining or, you know, below the expectations of how they taught you to go, it just brings a weight on the whole community, and it disappoints. And so my whole thing was, my anxieties came from not wanting to let the leaders down and the families that was in the temple down.
Wow. My good brother, you're dropping a lot of jewels, a lot of wisdom, and I'm truly honored to be speaking with you.
Mhm.
And it's just an interesting thing, because the challenges that's going on, that's attempting to prevent this conversation, is vast. But I'm going to trust and keep talking, and that the ones who are viewing us is going to be able to hear us regardless. So with that being said, as you were speaking, you remind me of this direct information. And I too, let me just say this briefly. Arise before the great God Allah for the nature of this meeting, as well as honoring our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, his forerunner Marcus Garvey as well. We'll speak to a little bit about him as well, inshallah, because tomorrow is his birthday. And like you said, we must honor our ancestors. So there's a lot of vibration in the ethers right now. And I ask for strength to just continue to hold and continue with this meeting and this interview. It says that even the path of wisdom he toiled after folly, and shame and disappointment are the rewards of his labor. That's speaking to ones now who might not do what it is that a family needs to keep a clean, reputable reputation, like the national chairman was saying just now. But it says, but the wise man cultivate his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowned with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue he accounted as the highest earning, and the science of happiness is the study of life. These are some of the great words that come by way of the Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple of America, Circle 7, affectionately known among Moors by our beloved Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And it's honored to really see a leader such as the national chairman, and also who he leads with, the National Grand Chief Nathaniel Booth Ill, move in the spirit of the wisdom that is being spoken here, because that is the kind of energy and character that it's going to take to truly bring these families of nations together. Because that was the intent of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, knowing that those diluted names, Negro, Black, Colored, had to be removed from a people, because those people did not know the lofty heritage of their ancestors. And today's discussion, we're kind of touching on that. So honest to you for really bringing that, but it also kind of brings me into the next question. As the current national chairman of the United Moorish Science of America, what is your vision for uniting Moorish Americans nationwide, and how do you see this alignment with Prophet Noble Drew Ali's plan?
Islam, and that's an excellent question. The Prophet's divine plan of the ages. What I noticed, the only thing you can do is be yourself. It's three. We have three steps to salvation: belief, faith, and fruition. And belief is what man thinks perhaps is truth. And so certain times we can believe things, and we hear things and you say, okay, I can believe that, but we don't know. And so the next is faith. Now, faith is what man knows is truth, meaning that faith is something that no one can take from you. Once you know, you know. You can be a disbeliever, but you can never be a disknower. And fruition, fruition is man being this message. And so I noticed that, okay, we can talk all we want. We can talk and it can fall on deaf ears. But I noticed that the people, they learn better when they see the example. You're going to waste breath. But when you see the example, because myself, I don't do this for people. I fear Allah, not to the fear of Allah that I cringe, but I fear Allah to the point that Allah has brought me and my family so many blessings, brought us out of so many corners. And just like if my mother heard I was doing something, something that goes against family values, that's going to bring shame on the family, how she feel, I look at Allah like that also. I'm like, Allah, we so many times we pray and here we are in our feeble mind state. We'll say, Allah, okay, if you do this for me, I promise I'll be right. Allah, you negotiating with the great God of the universe, basically. And, but the thing is, sometimes it'll hurt you when Allah brings you out of a situation and then you go back to the situation. Next thing you know, you're like, man, Allah sees all. And this is what drives you on your rug. Sometimes you can pray standing up, but sometimes when life hits, it drives you to your rug in the lowest position, such the sujood, in the lowest position. And that's why Allah loved the believers, but you can be in that position in your heart. So if you move in to please people, you're laying the foundation to misery, and so no matter what you do, whether it's good or bad, the people, the public have something to say. But if you living for Allah, you already know where you're going. Allah has never lost. This is what I know. We look at all the greats in any sports, in any situation. Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers. Magic Johnson, John Stark, Stockton, Larry Bird. You have all these, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You have all these great people, but they lost before. Allah has never. I have to roll with that. So no matter what comes with you, you follow the way. Allah will clear that. And this is the relationship as Moorish Muslims that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us to. So many times you can go out and do the works, but you can leave Allah, meaning that you can start off with Allah's guidance. Next thing you know, you can start moving on your own accord, and life start getting hard and weighty. And it seemed like you're trying to, push a square barrel uphill. This is when I know to myself that, okay, I done left Allah. I got to go back to that point, trace myself back to that last point where Allah was giving me guidance. And then I have to reevaluate the communication that Allah was giving me. The public is going to be there. The public is going to say what they want to say. Man, if you focus on Allah, there's nothing else. Allah is the true reality. There is nothing else. On the day of judgment, you're not going to stand before anybody that's in the public, and they're not going to stand before you. But on the day of judgment, when Allah brings everything, wraps everything up, that's all it's going to be. You're not going to be worried about people how many views you have. You're not going to be worried about your stations. You're not going to be worried about anything. In the Holy Quran in Mecca, it says that this day is going to be so, it's going to be so, powerful that the people, a woman that's giving nurturance to her child, is not going to even be worried about the infant. She's going to be worried about her soul on the day of judgment. And see, this is what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is getting us back to. Unity is just not in 500,000 Moors united. That's not unity. How many people are united in the heart? That's what a unity is. The unity is not in the heart. And so people come out and they love more science, but when it's time to be moral, that's where they go and they say, well, I'm not about that. I'm about these things. But more science teach us that the things you can see with your physical eyes shall change and pass away. They're subject unto change. And so the money that you're striving for, it's gonna disintegrate right in your hands. You follow Allah, you already have all of that. You don't have to donate to our cause. We're going to get it anyway. How do I know? If I plant a seed in the earth, give it soil, give it sunlight, and give it water, do I have to stand there like this and wait for it to grow? I can go do something else. I already created the conditions. Live a moral life, create the conditions. You can't stop the blessing from that, more. And so this is what our ancestors taught. Our ancestors didn't just memorize religions and memorize scripture. Once you memorize it, then what? You go in and you point at everybody and say, this is what you need to do. The prophet said this. Yeah, but you're immoral. You are immoral. And so when we start going overseas, doing business with other countries overseas, they're going to look at your morality, your traditions. Do you follow their women with your eyes? Have you learned how to lower your gaze? Do you try to get over on the buyer when you're doing business? These are characteristics of a moral people. You can wear a turban and have your point just like this. Crescent pin right here, fez it doesn't mean anything more. Allah is the final judge. This right here can just be a cloak just for YouTube right now. Under this turban, what's going on under this turban? Is this just the images that we put on every day? It doesn't matter. You can wear none of this, and your morality will stand out. Prophet Drew Ali come to clean us up. Why would you want to do business with another people and you're immoral? Where do your code of ethics come from? What moms taught you in the house, what pops taught you in the house, what grandmother, grandpa taught you in the home, you can take those traditions all around the world and be respected. If somebody tell you, Brother Douglas Hill, your grandmother, you speak highly of your grandmother, and I'm the same. You say your grandmother told you this. And even in your age today, we still know because you keep bringing it up. You bring it up because the condition, man, grandma always used to say, you can use these principles all around the world. I don't care if you Muslim, you say you Hebrew Israelite, you say you Muslim, we have the same prophet, the prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. So how can principle war against principles? If somebody want to pray 3 times a day, subhanallah, man, glory be to Allah, that's them. That don't have nothing to do with me. If they want to pray 5 times a day, subhanallah, glory be to Allah, that don't have nothing to do with me. If they call Allah this name and we call Allah, praise be to them. If they're not against me, then they must be for me because I work in the nonprofit sector. I have people from all different nationalities. We work together for one common cause. Better air quality and better conditions for their people and their communities. And everybody are advocates for their communities. But we advocating for the same thing, homelessness. Our people are not the only ones homeless. In the Asian community, they're homeless. In the so-called Latino community, they're homeless. So-called African American community, they're homeless. The so-called European community, they're homeless, because we see everybody at the table when we get there. So we know that the central problem is homelessness. And if everybody there, one is a Muslim, one is a Christian, one is a Buddhist, and we're all fighting for the same cause. So you can keep your semantics. But when you come here and you start doing the business, all your stereotypes is going to go out the door. Trust me. If you have the heart that the Prophet Noah Jirali is trying to get, all your stereotypes is going to go out the door. And so these are the things that we have to do in the community, because those values come from your home. And so the main thing is establishing the home. Act 7, divine constitution of bylaws. To talk much is the foolishness of folly, but Islam is the spirit.
Wow. To be honest with you, when the national chairman chairs the our national calls, we have them the first Friday of every month. I have a book, and it's gotten thick with a lot of notes. And I truly encourage anyone who's listening to this broadcast, take some mental notes. We speak to somebody who could have been in the entertainment industry because he's naturally gifted along those lines. But he took the initiative to serve humanity. So honest to you for that and everything that you just shared. ESROC, nonprofit.
Islam.
Lamar Park, LA, California. You co-founded ESROC, Brain Trust Associate, in 2016 with Daniel Ferguson.
Islam.
What inspired the creation of ESROC, and what have been some of its most impactful projects in the Leimert Park, and as you vision to go beyond?
Okay, Islam. Well, I just like to start off that it started in a barbershop. Me cutting Daniel hair since he was 19. So we like 30 years in, almost, 17 years, 20 strong, 20 years, we're in. And so Daniel Ferguson, he was always gifted as far as being in the, he's always been in the ministry, or, working for, I think he was working for Job Corps, one of the directors, of Job Corps. And so he always been in the circle, working for environmental justice, community incubators for, businesses and things like that. And so he was always around, a lot of core group of business people. And so myself, being, cutting his hair and many people hair, the community pours into me. I dropped out of school in the 11th grade. Not that I didn't like teaching, but I had to make money, support my family, do the oldest son thing. But from that, so the community poured into me, and so Daniel was the one who poured into me. And so he had come back, he graduated from, I think, the American Jewish University, got an MBA in nonprofits. And when he came back, he said, "We can do it now." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Everything that we used to talk about the community need in the chair, we can do it now. I know how to do all of it." I'm like, "Praise Allah. Okay, let's do it." And, we set up ESROC. He came up with the name, and it said ESROC. It's a Hebrew word. It means a sprout or a tree with indigenous roots to the land, and that's a reflection, of us. And our whole thing was ESROC Brain Trust Association is the whole name. And our whole thing is that what our community needed, we got tired of asking for resource. I'm not proudful, but I'm not the type that go out and ask for resources. Why? Because to me, once you do the work, you draw people to you. You just do the work. And then whatever they donate to you, the philanthropists, praise Allah, from their charitable hearts, then you just put it with what you already accumulated on your own efforts. Who would want to put money into an organization that's not putting it into themselves, or at least doing the work to show that, okay, I'd rather fund that initiative. I'd rather fund that program. I'm not here to, beg. So Daniel, he was the one who educated me. Okay, start studying this. Next thing you know, I start getting certificate of completion from, the University of Virginia, one from Duke University in public policy. And so that was my thing. And so he said, you need something under your belt. And him being, from the Christian faith, and he's a senior minister of Christ Temple, Bishop Lindsay, one of our elders in Leimert Park, and that's where our home office of Ezra is. And so by him, being Christian and I'm being a Muslim, our unit is so when two or more are gathered in my name, I am in the midst type of measure. Not two or more Christians, two or more Muslims, just two or more. And that's what we have our unity based on. And so Ezra just wanted, we saw a vision of a better community, and we saw some of our elders getting older, and we said, man, we didn't know that the elders was really paving the way until we got into community building. When I got into community building and I felt so not disrespectful, but I felt like I didn't appreciate my elders when I found out the groundwork that they laid. But when we start sitting in those circles and knowing that they was paving the way, even when we was, rapping, doing our thing, and hanging out and things like that. And it was them laying the foundation. It was them putting certain things in our counselors' ear, to make our community better programs and changing up policies. And so then, that's the foundation of Ezra. Before we do anything, we go to the elders of the community and say, look, we don't want to step on any toes. We came up with this idea, and the elders give us guidance and say, well, let me make some calls. Let me see what y'all doing. Let me make some calls. And, and that's how Ezra is nothing of itself. Ezra is just another community organization to pay homage to the elders that already paved the way. We're not even the smartest, Sheik. We're not the smartest. I'm not the smartest, but more science and Islam teach you humility. When you don't know, you people around you learn from the people around you, and they poured into me in Ezra. And so that was the purpose and the mission, of Ezra, to change the trajectory on a course, change the course, of these underrepresented and under this marginalized communities, the ones who's locked out, politically, socially, economic, we locked out. It doesn't care. Lock us out. Our history and our bloodline is known for creating other things. You can lock us out, but once we create this thing, you're going to come here. You have to. That's just the law. If you don't get behind our organizations in our community, you miss out. It's many of organizations, and I'm not being prideful or haughty, but Ezra has a lot of people, professors, that give their time, their family. They take their children to soccer. They pick them up at school. These are ordinary people that give their time. We're not going to let nobody come in and bully them. How can grown men and women don't understand resources? You bring a resource. Why should I take this resource? Excuse me, sister. Excuse me, brother. You don't have to take the resource. I move to the next one. Because like what the Prophet Jurali say, we use the same spirit that the Prophet Noble Jurali, You can join Ezra. If you love your community, come join Ezra. We looking for good people. We're not looking for everybody. Only the good people who think that their condition can be better. Because we're grown men and grown women. If you want to act like a child, you have to go over there to the child tier. But grown men and women make decisions up here. And it doesn't matter about your titles. In some rooms, I'm locked out because I don't have the title to get there. I'm the chairman in the Moorish Science Temple of America, But in other organizations, I don't sit in those councils. Why? Because they are more lofty than I am. They're more lofty. And even as a Grand Sheiks don't know everything. When a member comes to me and they tell me about carpentry and I don't know anything about carpentry, I become the student, no matter what my title is. They become the teacher. And if I cease to be a student, now I'm not going to learn about carpentry. People think as grand sheiks, we always have to be over something, but we're not, because we're not even the smartest. Grand sheiks are not the smartest. We sit around the brilliant people and they pour into us. And so, like the Prophet Buddha, peace be upon him, don't mean to be long-winded, but the Prophet Buddha, peace be upon him, he said, a master that ceases to be a student ceases to learn. Why? Because the master is telling the universe and putting out to the universe that he learned all that there is to know. So the universe stops speaking to him. The universe continue to speak, but you stop being conscious of the rotating of the sun rise and set of the sun, or the waves that push in and come out. See, these are the natural laws. Man doesn't control that. And so we have to be in sync with that. And this is what Ezra encompassed, the old values of pre-colonial families, the old values of pre-colonial families. And that's back in tune with nature. And that's what Ezra presents.
Wow. Thank you for that. Sharing a lot of nuggets. Welcome, viewers in America and those worldwide. This is Universal Pathway, and I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Hill. With our show, viewers get to hear our guests share their life lessons from a universal perspective so others can benefit. You can view us live at MillenniumTV24.com Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on all iOS and Android devices via our app. You can also view us on all smart TVs, Sony, Samsung, LG, also on Amazon, Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, Horizon Satellite, and most social media such as Facebook and YouTube. Please encourage others to come and view us with an open mind. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Thank you for that. It's just interesting the day as it unfolds, because I would normally say we're about to go to a commercial. Yet, the IT is doing his portion. And I say thank you for that, because the truth is, with so much technical difficulty at times, I just said, maybe we just need to flow with the conversation. I'm just grateful to be able to have the conversation. So honest to our IT team for going to that commercial, giving credit to Millennium News and just all the areas in which this broadcast can be heard. So we're here today live with the national chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America, our good brother, Shaahid Ali Il. And prior to the commercial, he touched on humility. And I too really love that aspect, because having so much elders who have done work by way of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, their actual biological parents, any school of thought that contributed and deposited in them virtues. We say in Moorish science that the highest self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. That brings justice, mercy, love, and right. And justice, everyone must meet at the door. There's no getting around justice. He's the doorkeeper. And justice is like, look, you reap what you sow, period. I can't even vote on that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take a look at your thought, your words, and your deeds. Go take a seat over there. Or go bow over there. But whatever it is, I always love dialoguing with the national chairman, because he always helped me to put things into perspective, because he's drawing from either his elder's perspective, his life perspective, or something that he's gleaned through the various different school of thoughts. I know you also embrace Buddhism deeply, the Tao. We spoke about that recently. But with that being said, when he writes from that perspective as well. You also write for the Moorish Times, which is a newspaper started by the National Grand Sheikh Nathaniel Booth Eel, also Grand Sheikh William Osiris Bey out of Oakland, and others. And it's just interesting to see some of your writing and demonstration. My question is, as a consistent contributor to the Moorish Times newspaper published nationally, how do you use your writing to uplift the community historically labeled as Negroes, Black, and Colored?
Islam, that's an excellent question. Mostly when I write, it's something that's been in my heart for a while. It's not, it's the spirit of things that's going on either worldwide, nationwide, and it's a spirit that we have to touch on. Like if I'm writing, one of the writings is the grass greener on the other side. Working with the youth, and in South Los Angeles, you will hear a lot of stories of how our children, with the school, it's always go to school, get a good job, and things like that. So they go to these 4-year colleges, they probably eating pizza, top ramen, but they're, it's almost like they're in boot camp. It's almost like it's an educational boot camp. But when they come back, it's nowhere to exercise their 4-year degrees. And see, our problem is all the degrees go outside of the community. It's not that we don't have, reputable and certified people with education in our community and the young and the youth. The thing is, we haven't built an economic structure to house the degrees, to pay them what they deserve. If they become a director of your organization, now they have to get the lowest. They're not getting paid the quality that measures up to their degree and their pain and suffering, or the path, the trials that it took to get to those degrees. But their heart is set back on coming back to the community. So how do the youth look at the people that's been in the community? Once they start going to college, understanding certain infrastructure, they're going to come back and say, we're in a terrible condition. And so you hear these stories. They come back from school, it's like, and they lofty, they learn so many things, but it's nowhere to utilize them. And so what we have to do, we have to set up infrastructure where they can utilize their degrees. And so this is why we work with community partners at Ezra. And I like to give honors to our executive director, Dr. Edidiong Mendy. She's the executive director of Ezra, and she is, if it was basketball, she will be the point guard. She is the spearhead of Ezra. We have the spirit, she love it, and she's the one, and our advisory board working hand in hand with, certain interns from colleges that's coming on assisting Ezra, and so she's the one that directs that course. And so working with the youth, we have to give them something to work with. It's if you have 3 generations of people who came before the youth, and what are you going to hand to them? A broken and crushed, you have to give them something to be proud for. If we're into substance abuse, clinics and things like that, health clinics and things, why do our health clinics have to look as though somebody just put it up? Why it can't be nice facilities at our children? Why do our children have to go to other skate parks? If that's the thing, if they love skateboarding, why do they have to go to the next county over or the next city over? Why do you can't have a skate park that's something we can appreciate and keep we have to build these things for our children. We have to, or they're not going to see the benefit of community, the benefit of education, and so we have to do this. It's an old American American Indian proverb where it says that the earth is not yours. You borrowed it from your children, because you're going to have to hand it off to them. And what are you going to hand off? And so this is what we have to look at. I don't think there's ever been a time where we had so many educated people in our community to do this. So Islam, we have to work with the youth, get them prepared, get their idea and their attention off something else.
Wow. You said a lot, and I totally agree with that insight. It's really about our children, the future. You've connected the perspective of respecting the elders, allow them to pour into us.
Yes.
So we can be a better service to the children. So I see the receiving, they are our messengers from Allah, our elders. They got that wisdom. So as they pour into us, the connector, the bridge, we can pour into our future, our children, that new energy, that new vibe, that new resonance that Allah is bringing in. So you've said a lot, and you've connected a lot of keys, and gratitude for you being here today.
Yes.
Just briefly, as we close out, and I'd love to bring you back on the show. The National Grand Sheikh is committed to come back on the show, inshallah. And I'd love to do the same thing as well with yourself, because the leadership from the United Moorish Science Temple of America have some profound elders that they've built with, whether it be from the Braswell demonstration, who's also serving the capacity for Supreme Grand Sheikh, or the Bailey Eel demonstration. You have that connector, and of course, also the C. Kirkman Bay demonstration as well as even the Givens Eel. So many different elders, and we acknowledge all aspects that Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace be upon him, established by way of the One Temple. So, real quick, are there just a quick nugget, wisdom that you'd like to share as we get ready to close out? And where can one also connect with the nonprofit, that your entrepreneurial leadership and insight have been so involved in Lamar Park?
Okay, our website is www.ezrach, that's EZRACH.org, www.ezrach.org. On the final, what I like to say is, in this era of time, this is a new era of time, and in more science, our ancestors always measured time by cycle ages. What goes around comes around. And so it's the same thing with relationships. When we was younger, we probably ruffled each other's feathers as youth, or coming up, or trying to find, the way to peace in these different things, whether it's in our community or whether it's in the private sector and the ministry. But when these cycles come back, we have to ask ourselves, if the last time I met this brother or this sister, we had confrontation, when I see them again, what am I going to start? Do I start a new cycle, or do I continue the old one of having a wretched heart against a brother or against a sister? Because see, in this time, this is the day of reckoning right now, with people to understand. This is the coming of the day of righteousness. So you can have anything on your heart, but you won't be saved, because you have evil spirits, what we call jinns in Islam. They sit on your heart, and they stop the barrier. They move through the ranks of your heart. And so now you don't feel a connection between your brother or sister, or if they're from Africa, or they're from the Caribbean islands, are they from North, South, Central America, are they from North America, Asia, or any continent, Europe, any continent. We have to start doing a history, of these past traumas. Once we get into more science and we start purifying our heart, you're going to gain a love for humanity, and you'll start reconnecting, them old spirits of your ancestors. And then the old tribes and the old people that you used to do trade and commerce and business with, they will start to come back. But until they see the spirit, you're just a shell. You're just a shell. We're just wearing these. If we have all the science, we have all the knowledge, and Moors love to say the 360 degrees of this, 360 degrees of that. But yet you can't even tell your own brother or sister, I apologize. You know, your brother that you grew up with, hey, I apologize. Look, we stay next door to each other. When your moms had to pick me up from school. So, you know, these family bonds, these are old family bonds, because when Allah wraps it up, it doesn't matter whose side you're on. When Allah say it's a wrap, it's a wrap. That means you can forget about anything you have to do tomorrow. It doesn't matter. If you're trying to get a record deal, it's a wrap. That means it don't come out. When Allah wraps everything up, it's a wrap. And so we have, our whole thing is to purify our hearts. That's why we go see John the Baptist. That's why John the Baptist in the Moorish lessons, because he paved the way. That purity, purify your heart. Yes, it hurts. Somebody done this to you. Yes, it's hurt. But look at what's coming. That's going to pulverize the whole nation of our whole nation of people. You know, you watch them old movies. People don't get united until a meteor finna hit the earth. Now Russia love China, America love this country, we love this, and now everybody getting together to stop the meteor. I'm telling you, we have to prepare. The Prophet Noah, peace be upon him, he listened to Allah no matter what people said, and he just kept preparing. All the prophets kept preparing. You have to prepare. If you don't prepare, I don't care how much your eyebrows touch, how many Facebook follow you. It's a wrap. When Allah said it's a wrap and tell the angels to let's wrap this up, it's a wrap. So love instead of hate. That's what's going to get you. Weigh that heart with love. But if you have hatred on your heart and the day of judgment come, how are them scales going to balance out? That's what we have to think about. Purifying the heart. Be good to everybody, even the ones you consider your enemy, because sometimes we consider people our enemy, but we didn't communicate. We on the enemy out of ignorance. You know, communicate to your brother, communicate to your sister. If not, if you see their family member, ask about them. I pray doing well. Tell him he was right when we were 17 and we 30 now. You know, he was right. I apologize. So when you do see him, at least some good spirits through his aunt, pass that on, and it won't be any type of aggression. It doesn't matter. You're not going to beat Allah. We're not going to beat Allah. Allah done this for millennials. Destroy people, brought them back, destroyed them, brought them back. Only Allah. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you know, for us is the way to Islam. And he guided us back to the faith of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the religion of Abraham. Stick with Abraham and you will love Ishmael and Isaac and their spring. Stick with the Prophet Abraham. We're one family, Islam.
Honest to you, my good brother. You just heard from the national chairman of the United Moorish Science Temple of America, our good brother, Shaahid Ali Il. Much wisdom coming from the leadership from the United Moorish Science Temple of America and Moors in general. So gratitude. Thank you for our viewing audience, for your patience. I know we went a little bit over time. We had some technical difficulties and still do right now. So with that being said, I'm not going to be long-winded. I'm going to close it out. Honest to our guests, the chairman, national chairman of the United Moorish Science Temple of America, honest to you. Please share, like, and subscribe. And we hope to have him back for another broadcast, inshallah. So with that, I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Il, right here. This is Universal Pathway by way of Millennium News 24. Peace and love to you all.
Islam, peace and love.